buckle up because we're about to plunge into a world where alliances are forged and shattered in the blink of an eye, where every victory comes with a cost, and where the road to a major event like Wrestlepalooza is paved with, well, shocking betrayals and intentionally personal vendettas. Today we're embarking on a deep dive into the electrifying events of WWE Monday Night Raw #1685. That all unfolded on September 8th, 2025, live from the Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We've got the full breakdown, all the key intelligence from championship aspirations igniting to the most deeply personal feuds reaching a boiling point. Our mission today is clear: to unpack the most crucial nuggets of knowledge and insight from this absolutely jam-packed event. We're going far beyond just the results. We're exploring the underlying motivations, the truly unexpected twists, and what these developments genuinely mean for the superstars involved, and most importantly for you, the devoted fan, as we hurtle towards Wrestlepalooza.
Precisely. We'll be connecting the intricate dots between individual actions and the broader narrative that's unfolding. We'll be scrutinizing the why behind these high-stakes clashes and really delving into how these seemingly isolated moments resonate with the grander picture heading into Wrestlepalooza. What's truly striking is how rapidly dynamics can shift in this environment, and how a single night can fundamentally redefine not just one rivalry, but maybe the entire landscape of the show. It's fascinating.
So if you're looking for that definitive shortcut to being profoundly well-informed about the latest seismic shifts in the wrestling world, understanding not merely what happened, but profoundly why it matters, and perhaps uncovering some genuinely surprising facts and connections along the way, then you are absolutely in the right place. Get ready for some genuine aha moments as we meticulously dissect this incredible night of action.
Indeed. It also compels us to ask a crucial question. How do these meticulously crafted storylines with their intricate personal stakes and unexpected turns impact the audience's emotional investment? And how do they strategically build anticipation for future events? We'll be peeling back those layers, examining the underlying currents that drive fan engagement and shape those long-term narratives.
So let's kick things off by setting the stage for this pivotal episode. After the seismic fallout from Clash in Paris, every single eye in the wrestling world is now firmly fixed on Wrestlepalooza. This particular Raw episode, #1685, didn't just feel like another stop on the tour. It truly felt like a critical juncture,
Yeah.
A foundational cornerstone that's genuinely setting the tone for what's to come, subtly and not so subtly, hinting at the monumental stakes that every single segment holds. The broadcast itself explicitly declared that Wrestlepalooza is on the horizon and that we are now undeniably steering towards a memorable event. This isn't just another Monday night of matches. It's being framed as a foundational, indispensable step towards one of the biggest nights in professional wrestling, elevating every move, every promo, every win, and every loss into something far more significant.
Absolutely. That framing is key.
And central to this intensifying high-stakes landscape is the undeniable emergence of the Vision, which is quickly becoming a growing, influential faction. It appears to be tightening its grip on Monday Night Raw.
Spearheaded by the undeniable star power and calculated charisma of Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, their reach is expanding at an alarming rate, and their perceived control over the Red brand is quickly becoming a major point of contention for, well, pretty much everyone else on the roster.
Right.
As the formidable Bron Breakker himself pointed out with a certain air of frustration, the Vision seems to determine what happens on Raw, suggesting an almost authoritative, perhaps even dictatorial influence over the show's direction and the destinies of its roster. It paints a picture of a group that isn't just competing, but actively shaping the narrative. And when we connect this to the broader tapestry of wrestling narratives, the Vision isn't merely a collection of powerful individuals or even just a dominant tag team. It's meticulously presented as an ideology, a pervasive, controlling force that explicitly seeks to dictate the narrative and the very flow of events within the WWE universe. This strategic framing adds a profound layer of depth to every confrontation they engage in, positioning them not just as opponents in a wrestling ring, but as a direct, almost philosophical challenge to the established order and individual autonomy.
Yeah, it's like they see themselves above the fray, pulling the strings.
Exactly. Their strikingly coordinated presence, their unwavering confidence, and their perceived influence paint them as the master orchestrators, or at the very least, the most prominent instruments, of a larger, carefully constructed plan. Every superstar who dares to cross their path isn't just facing a rival in a match. They're facing a formidable challenge to their own sense of self-determination and an ideology they might fundamentally disagree with.
It's a fascinating evolution in wrestling storytelling, that kind of meta-narrative.
It really is.
And as we headed into this pivotal episode, The stage was meticulously set for a grand convergence of key players, hinting at a night where pre-existing alliances would be tested. Long-standing grudges would flare, and entirely new feuds would undoubtedly ignite. The broadcast itself tantalized us with teasers, mentioning the anticipated presence of, presumably, the other pawns, suggesting that everyone, from the top champions to the supporting cast, has a crucial role to play in this elaborate high-stakes chess match.
Everyone's involved somehow.
Among these pivotal characters, and adding another layer of intrigue, are the Usos, who, after a tumultuous period of separation, internal strife, and deeply personal struggles, had recently found themselves, perhaps surprisingly, back on the same side.
A fragile truce, maybe.
Could be. This reunion, however temporary or fragile it might prove to be, promised to add another fascinating, emotionally charged layer to the already complex and ever-shifting dynamics of Raw. Now, let's turn our attention to a truly captivating development, because the intensity truly ratcheted up when we kicked things off, with a stark, undeniable reminder of the rapidly escalating feud between CM Punk and Seth freaking Rollins.
Oh, yeah, this got personal fast.
This isn't just about championship gold or bragging rights anymore. It's profoundly personal, fueled by a deeply intertwined history of grievances and, more recently, highly impactful interventions. The conflict had reached an undeniable boiling point at Clash in Paris, where Becky Lynch, with her trademark ferocity, played a pivotal and many would argue decisive role in helping her husband, Seth Rollins, secure a hard-fought victory.
Right, the interference was crucial.
And right after that explosive match, with the emotional intensity still thick in the air and the crowd still buzzing, Lynch didn't shy away for a moment. She immediately sought out and engaged in a direct, aggressive, and highly personal confrontation with Punk, unequivocally escalating the rivalry beyond just her husband and his direct opponent.
She really inserted herself directly into it.
Punk, renowned for his strategic mind and never one to back down from a challenge, swiftly countered this new power dynamic that saw him outnumbered. On the very next Friday, in his hometown of Chicago, he made a calculated and absolutely game-changing strategic move. He engineered the dramatic return of his wife, the legendary AJ Lee.
Wow, talk about an equalizer.
This wasn't merely a nostalgic comeback. It was a deliberate, powerful, and deeply personal escalation in this ongoing war. Our sources explicitly state that Lee immediately heated things up with Lynch, signaling that Punk had brought his own formidable personal reinforcement to this increasingly personal and high-stakes conflict.
Adding a whole new dimension.
And in a clear, undeniable visual testament to their united front and undeniable power dynamic, Rollins and Lynch arrived at the arena for Raw, #1685 color coordinated. A symbolic gesture that screamed power couple and powerfully reinforced their unified strength against any and all challengers. It was a visual declaration of war.
Subtle but effective. They look like a unit.
AJ Lee's segment, honestly, was a masterclass in psychological warfare and character reintroduction.
Yeah.
She didn't just walk into the arena. She arrived with a living history lesson and a very specific, meticulously crafted message that resonated profoundly with the live audience and viewers alike.
The crowd reaction was huge.
Absolutely. The Pfizer Forum absolutely erupted with huge cheers for her return, a testament to her enduring popularity and the immense anticipation surrounding her comeback after a decade away. She graciously thanked the fans for their overwhelming warm welcome, and then with an air of confident reintroduction explained why she's the favorite wrestler of our favorite wrestlers, cementing her unique legacy even before getting down to the nitty-gritty of the brewing rivalry.
Setting the stage perfectly.
But what truly set this segment apart and resonated deeply was Lee's candid and remarkably honest explanation of her 10-year retirement. This wasn't just a simple break from the grind. She openly focused on achieving deeply personal goals, prioritizing her mental health, undergoing therapy, and finding a solution to channel her energy constructively in a healthier way. She eloquently described feeling very good for a long time after finding this path to self-care and personal well-being.
That honesty was striking.
This raw vulnerability and honesty immediately grounded her character in a relatable, deeply human way, making her return not just about reigniting a rivalry, but about a profound personal journey of self-discovery and empowerment. That now culminates in her fiercely defending her husband and their shared legacy.
What's truly fascinating here, and arguably groundbreaking in wrestling, is the deliberate and authentic integration of real-world issues like mental health into a top-tier storyline. It's not just a passing mention, it's a foundational aspect of Lee's character upon her return.
Yeah, it felt very real.
This choice grounds her character in a deeply relatable and contemporary way, making her return not solely about a rivalry, but about a personal journey. That culminates in defending her husband, giving her a far more compelling why. This kind of narrative depth moves beyond traditional hero-villain tropes. It compels the audience to connect with her on a much more profound level, understanding the emotional weight behind her actions and her fierce loyalty.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It truly makes us consider, how does this sophisticated blend of personal narrative, grounded in real human experience, with the expected in-ring aggression, create a more compelling and multifaceted character? And how does it encourage a different, more nuanced kind of audience investment beyond just the physical confrontations? It's storytelling that reflects modern sensibilities.
And right from the very start of her impactful return, she threw down the gauntlet with a massive visual statement that immediately ignited the arena. Lee entered the ring not empty-handed, but brazenly wearing Becky Lynch's Intercontinental Championship, which she had unapologetically stolen on SmackDown.
Whoa, okay, that's bold.
This immediate, highly disrespectful visual act added a massive layer of fuel to the already raging fire, showing that this was about far more than just a championship match. It was about pride, about public humiliation, and about deeply personal possession. It was a direct psychological attack designed to provoke.
And it worked.
Naturally, Lynch's arrival was met with an absolute explosion of outrage, confirming Lee's successful provocation. She stopped short of the ring, practically fuming over the stolen title, declaring with absolute certainty that she was the one who elevated it and made it the most important title in the WWE, and that she is the greatest female wrestler of all time, citing Sports Illustrated and other prominent newspapers as irrefutable proof.
Bringing out their seats.
She dramatically proclaimed that she didn't need therapy, she just needed her title back, a direct jab at Lee's earlier comments.
Ouch.
Lee, ever the cool and calculated provocateur, feigned forgetfulness about wearing the title, claiming with a sly smirk that she hadn't taken it off since Friday, and then quickly observed Lynch's hidden black eye, slyly questioning if it was in fact her doing.
Just twisting the knife, pure mind games.
Lee then intensified the psychological warfare by challenging Lynch directly, stating if she was the greatest of all time, why didn't she just take it back? Daring her to confront her physically.
Calling her bluff, essentially.
Seth Rollins, ever the de-escalator when it strategically suits him, attempted to calm his furious wife, trying to assert control over the volatile situation. He asked Lee to simply return the title, hoping they could all go home in peace and avoid further confrontation.
Trying to be the reasonable one, perhaps?
Bye, with a sarcastic mansplaining comment and a dismissive wave, clarified that she much preferred Lynch take it back herself, pointedly hinting at the very real risk of a second black eye.
Oh, she wasn't letting him off the hook.
She then, with calculated precision, laid down the explicit challenge. A mixed tag team match, CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch.
There it is, the match everyone suddenly wants to see.
The audacity of it immediately reverberated through the arena. The climax of this electrifying, tension-filled segment saw Rollins initially reluctant to accept such a high-stakes personal match. He asserted his status as the reigning world heavyweight champion and emphatically declared this to be his show.
Trying to pull rank.
He even vowed to enter the ring himself and retrieve the title, attempting to end the charade on his terms. But just as he was making his way towards the ring, CM Punk made an incredibly timely arrival, walking directly past Lynch and launching a ferocious attack on Rollins.
Perfect timing by Punk.
Rollins, clearly caught off guard but managing to escape, then, in a moment of frustrated defiance, agreed to the match.
He got pushed into it.
With the challenge now officially accepted, Lee, true to her earlier word, and with one final, infuriating gesture, tossed the championship title back to Lynch. But not before giving it a symbolic, almost mocking farewell kiss, a final jab that sealed the intensity of this burgeoning, deeply personal rivalry.
Just brilliant heel work right there, leaving a lasting image.
Okay, let's shift gears. The Usos. Talk about a storyline that's been a veritable roller coaster of emotions, betrayals, and fleeting reunions.
It really has been complicated for them.
One minute they're celebrating a fragile reunion, the next they're caught in a crossfire, and then, inexplicably, one of them seems to be just done. The episode started with Jey Uso's celebrated entrance, greeted by huge, resounding cheers as he made his way through the enthusiastic crowd. On his way to the ring, his brother Jimmy Uso joined him, and the siblings indulged in yeeting with the fans, raising their arms in unison with the crowd, soaking in the adoration and reaffirming their temporary unity.
The crowd loves Jey, that's for sure.
They even had Jey's theme song briefly replayed in the ring, emphasizing their popularity and the seeming, albeit perhaps temporary, strength of their renewed bond.
Setting up that feeling of unity.
However, That fragile unity was immediately put to the test, and under immense pressure, with a fiery confrontation involving the formidable duo of Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker, both prominent members of the increasingly dominant The Vision faction.
Here we go. The Vision again.
The Usos wasted no time in taunting their imposing opponents, with Jay confidently claiming that Reed and Breakker bit off more than they could chew, and Jimmy boldly declaring them to be the ones, the undisputed top team, in stark contrast to what he called two idiots on the ramp.
A lot of confidence from the Usos.
The Vision offered their own, equally aggressive perspective, with Breakker pointedly reminding Jimmy that he rightfully belonged on SmackDown, and with a menacing glare asserting that the Vision undeniably controlled Raw.
Laying down the law, their version of it anyway.
Breakker, barely able to contain his seething anger, ominously mentioned what was done to Paul Heyman, while Reed held him back, insisting that this specific confrontation had to wait for a more opportune moment.
Interesting dynamic there, Reed being the slightly calmer one.
Maybe. Reed then escalated the rhetoric, demanding that Roman Reigns' family acknowledge the tribal thief, a clear jab at Reigns, and declared their intent to do to Jimmy exactly what they did to Reigns.
Bringing Roman into it, high stakes.
Despite Reed's stated desire to wait until Wrestlepalooza for a tag team match, the simmering tensions quickly boiled over into a sudden, explosive intervention. Then, as the tension reached a fever pitch, seemingly out of nowhere, LA Knight exploded onto the scene.
Yeah, LA Knight.
He's always been a wild card, known for his unpredictable nature and his knack for injecting himself into opportune situations, but his timing here was exceptionally interesting. Knight launched a sudden surprise attack on Reed and Breakker, initially finding himself at a numerical disadvantage.
Never afraid to jump in.
However, the Usos, perhaps instinctively, quickly intervened, turning the tide and sparking a multi-person brawl that saw Reed and Breakker eventually forced out of the ring.
So a temporary alliance forms.
Yet even in the midst of this chaotic, temporary alliance, a brief, yet noticeably heated discussion erupted between Jay and Knight, subtly foreshadowing future tensions and hinting that their impromptu partnership might prove to be a very fragile one indeed.
Remember that. That's important.
This incident immediately led us to LA Knight's distinctive lone wolf mentality, which was on full display in a revealing backstage segment. In an exchange with Adam Pearce and Byron Saxton, Knight was completely unapologetic about interrupting what others might consider family reunions or carefully planned confrontations.
Classic LA Knight. Doesn't care about stepping on toes.
He clearly and emphatically stated his desire for what's coming to him, a title shot, a main event spot, perhaps even revenge, and specifically targeted one of the Brons for a beating that very night.
Calling his shot.
He seemed intent on making a definitive statement, but crucially, on his own terms, reinforcing his independent, self-reliant persona.
This lone wolf persona of LA Knight is profoundly crucial within the evolving narrative. It starkly contrasts with the established, increasingly powerful factions and alliances we're seeing, like the Vision or even the fleeting yet emotionally charged reunion of the Usos.
Right, he's completely on his own path.
Knight is intentionally setting himself up as an undeniable outsider, a maverick who relies solely on his own grit, charisma, and talent. This is a powerful statement of individual ambition in an environment increasingly dominated by collective power and strategic alliances. It compels us to ask a critical question. Can a single, determined superstar, relying purely on self-belief and individual skill, truly stand against the rising tide of organized factions? Or is his fiercely independent path ultimately a strategic vulnerability in the long run? It's a classic wrestling archetype, but one that feels increasingly challenged by the current landscape.
It's a great question. And then we got this really telling moment for the Usos dynamic. A subtle yet profound shift that signaled a deeper rift than just a simple disagreement. Jimmy found G backstage, completely packed up and clearly in the process of leaving the arena, ready to walk out.
Whoa, G was actually leaving.
Looked like it. Jimmy confronted him, pleading with his brother that LA Knight would undoubtedly need their help later that night against the Vision. But Jay was utterly dismissive, stating emphatically that Knight didn't deserve his help, and perhaps more tellingly, that Jay needed to focus entirely on himself.
Wow, that's cold and very specific.
It was a moment of stark self-prioritization, echoing past struggles. Jimmy, with a profound and perhaps painful insight, observed that Jay sounded more like Roman Reigns, drawing a powerful, almost haunting parallel to their past family struggles within the bloodline, and the ruthless ambition that defined the tribal chief.
Oof, that's gotta sting. comparing him to Roman.
This comparison was clearly meant to shake Jay, to remind him of the path he once resisted. Despite this incredibly weighty and emotionally charged comparison, Jay continued his departure, his palpable frustration and newly declared self-interest seemingly outweighing any lingering familial loyalty or immediate strategic concern for LA Knight. He simply walked away,
Leaving Jimmy hanging. And setting up, well, what happened next?
The main event itself delivered on the sheer physicality, as expected from such combatants, but it was the conclusion that truly left everyone talking, completely stunned and bewildered. You think you know where things are headed in wrestling, and then, bam, a complete narrative left turn.
Always expect the unexpected.
It was Bronson Reed, accompanied by the menacing Bron Breakker, facing off against the popular LA Knight. The match itself saw Reed's undeniable dominance, greatly aided by Breakker's constant disruptive interference throughout the contest, which kept Knight on the defensive.
Yeah, Breakker was a constant thorn in Knight's side.
Reed ultimately secured the hard-fought win with his devastating signature Death Valley driver, which the commentators dramatically called the Jagged Edge.
Solid win for Reed, but the story wasn't over.
Not even close. The action, and indeed the narrative, didn't stop there. Reed and Breakker, clearly not satisfied with just the win, continued their brutal assault on Knight after the bell, clearly trying to send a definitive, painful message.
Making an example of him.
Jimmy Uso, true to his word from earlier, immediately rushed to the ring to help, only to be swiftly taken down by a devastating spear from one of the Vision members, likely Breakker.
So Jimmy tried to make the save.
As Reed and Breakker then prepared to further brutalize Jimmy, a surprising figure emerged, running back down the ramp. Jey Uso.
Jay is back. He didn't leave.
He had seemingly turned back, dispelling the earlier notion that he had truly left the arena. However, in a moment of stunning reversal, he too immediately received a spear, falling victim to the Vision's overwhelming numerical force.
Wait, so he came back just to get speared. What was the point?
This moment built incredible suspense, leaving the audience, and certainly us, questioning Jay's earlier departure and his true intentions. Was his exit a ruse? A calculated risk? Knight, showing remarkable resilience despite the brutal beating, eventually recovered, grabbing a steel chair and effectively clearing the ring of the Vision, who wisely retreated.
Knight clears the ring, standing tall for a moment.
As the dust settled, a truly pivotal and shocking moment unfolded. Knight, still reeling but victorious in clearing the ring, approached the fallen Jay, and, in a gesture of perceived camaraderie, asked if everything was okay between them, then extended a hand to help Jimmy up.
Okay, seems like they're patching things up after that earlier argument.
But in an absolutely shocking, visceral twist that silenced the arena, Jay, harboring what was clearly a deep-seated grudge, a resentment that had been simmering beneath the surface, immediately delivered a devastating spear to LA Knight himself.
No way.
Standing triumphantly over the fallen Knight, Jay declared with a chilling intensity that cut through the silence, "Now we're okay."
Oh my God. Jay turned on LA Knight after everything.
This left the Fusor Forum utterly stunned, bringing the show to an abrupt, shocking, and profoundly impactful end, rewriting all assumptions.
This, without a doubt, is a quintessential aha moment in professional wrestling storytelling. Jay's betrayal isn't a simple, spontaneous turn. It's revealed to be a calculated, deliberately belayed move that completely recontextualizes his earlier departure, his conversation with Jimmy, and his seemingly disinterested comments.
It all makes sense now, in a twisted way. The leaving, the focus on himself.
Exactly. It unveils a deep-seated resentment, possibly linked not just to his complex past with Roman Reigns and the lingering issues from the Bloodline saga, but also to his current, perhaps unexpected issues with LA Knight. Remember that argument during the brawl?
Yeah, that little detail suddenly feels huge.
The entire narrative of his leaving was, in hindsight, a meticulously crafted setup. A masterfully executed misdirection designed to make this specific betrayal even more impactful. If we connect this to the broader landscape of wrestling narratives, it fundamentally suggests that even perceived allies can harbor incredibly dangerous hidden intentions, and that deeply personal grievances, often kept hidden or simmering, can ultimately outweigh strategic alliances or even immediate revenge against a common enemy.
Trust no one, basically.
Pretty much. It forces the audience to rethink every interaction and every relationship we've seen, raising the stakes dramatically for Wrestlepalooza. It also showcases the sophisticated, long-term storytelling that wrestling is capable of, where every small detail, every fleeting interaction can be a crucial clue to a larger, more impactful revelation. That completely shifts the emotional core of the narrative. This wasn't just a physical act, it was a psychological one designed to inflict maximum emotional damage and strategic advantage.
Incredible end to the show. Just incredible. Let's shift focus slightly to AJ Styles. AJ Styles has always been synonymous with respect, honor, and fierce competition, but when you dare to mess with his championship chances, it transforms into something far more volatile and deeply personal.
Yeah, you don't cross the phenomenal one lightly.
And this episode vividly showed us just how profound that shift can be. We're reminded of the previous week, when El Grande Americano's blatant interference in the Intercontinental Championship match against Dominik Mysterio directly cost Styles his hard-earned victory.
Right, Dom stole one, essentially.
It wasn't just a loss, it was a blatant act of disrespect and sabotage that lit a furious fire under the phenomenal one. This burning frustration boiled over in a rare, remarkably candid backstage promo that aired during a commercial break, offering us a glimpse into Styles' internal turmoil.
It was pretty revealing.
Styles lamented having no support for the first time in what felt like a very long time, with his loyal allies, Gallows, Anderson, and Michin, all being elsewhere, leaving him feeling isolated. He openly confessed, almost to himself, that he deeply suspected someone here doesn't want him here, creating a palpable sense of an unseen malevolent force actively working against him.
Ooh, adding a conspiracy element. Who could it be?
His desire wasn't merely to win his next match, it was to inflict genuine pain upon Americano, and he hoped that the mysterious unseen person who didn't want him around would feel a bit of that pain too, a subtle but potent threat to a hidden antagonist.
This display of vulnerability from AJ Styles, particularly for a veteran of his caliber and legendary status, is extraordinarily interesting and adds immense depth to his character. It paints him not just as a top-tier competitor, but as someone facing intense internal pressures of isolation and external pressures from a potentially shadowy adversary.
Makes him more relatable, in a way.
Definitely. The idea that someone doesn't want him here creates a powerful sense of unseen forces at play, which is a classic and highly effective narrative device in wrestling. It shifts the focus from a simple rivalry with Americano to a potential conspiracy, inviting the audience to speculate wildly on who might truly be pulling the strings behind the scenes. This raises a crucial question. In a world of visible factions and clearly defined allegiances, how does the deliberate suggestion of a hidden, perhaps more powerful antagonist amplify the drama? And the intensely personal stakes for a seasoned, respected veteran like Styles, and how does it keep the audience guessing about the true nature of the conflict? It suggests a game far larger than just one match.
So true. And when the match finally happened, when the highly anticipated match between Styles and El Grande Americano finally began, Americano made his entrance with newly revamped theme music and a dramatic flowing cape, clearly attempting to make a grand statement.
Trying to look the part.
But Styles, fueled by an almost incandescent rage and a burning desire for retribution, didn't wait for the official bell. He furiously interrupted Americano's entrance, immediately going on the offensive and launching into a brutal brawl before the match could even officially commence.
Styles was having none of it. Pure anger.
It was a clear statement of intent. This wasn't just a match, it was personal vengeance. Just when Styles seemed to gain a decisive advantage and the momentum, double trouble, in a very literal sense, arrived. An unexpected second El Grande Americano appeared out of nowhere, grabbing Styles' feet from outside the ring, which allowed the Beeger, better or original Americano, to regain control of the match.
Wait, there were two of them. Okay, that explains Dom's help.
It truly seemed Styles was once again outnumbered and set up for failure. However, in a crucial, incredibly timely save, Dragon Lee burst onto the scene, quickly disposing of the menor, lesser or duplicate Americano, effectively evening the odds and giving Styles a fighting chance.
Dragon Lee, making the save. Interesting alliance forming there.
This critical intervention allowed Styles to hit his signature, devastating Styles' clash for the decisive win, much to the crowd's relief. After the match, a moment of genuine mutual respect unfolded as Styles shook Dragon Lee's hand, and they celebrated together in the ring, clearly signaling a potential new and very promising alliance forged in the fires of battle against a common deceptive enemy.
Styles needed backup, and Dragon Lee stepped up. That could be big.
In stark contrast to Styles' struggles and his reliance on unexpected assistance, Dominik Mysterio, the reigning Intercontinental Champion, presented a picture of supreme, if somewhat misplaced, confidence.
Oh, Dom. Never change.
In a backstage interview later in the evening, he arrogantly claimed to have beaten Styles all by himself and needed no help. completely glossing over or perhaps intentionally dismissing El Grande Americano's obvious and impactful interference in their previous match.
Revisionist history at its finest.
His sole focus, he asserted with a swagger, was now on securing the prestigious AAA Mega Championship at Worlds Collide, and he confidently dismissed his upcoming opponent, Vikingo, as someone who needed help, unlike himself, a further act of bravado.
Projecting much.
Later, the intricate web of alliances within the Judgment Day Clubhouse became a bit more tangled when Dominik's actions with El Grande Americano raised clear eyebrows within his own faction. Finn Balor specifically questioned Dominik's involvement, hinting at a lack of transparency or perhaps unauthorized dealings.
Even his own crew is suspicious.
To this, Dominik defensively responded that it was simply a lucha thing, a vague and dismissive explanation, quickly exiting, and leaving both Balor and JD McDonough in a state of confusion and suspicion.
A lucha thing.
Right.
Totally not suspicious at all.
Roxanne Perez, seemingly trying to mediate or perhaps understand the underlying currents, then hurried after him, adding another layer of intrigue to Dominik's increasingly complex and potentially secretive storyline.
When we connect this to the broader picture of character development, Dominik's repeated, almost desperate assertion of not needing help, even when empirical evidence clearly suggests otherwise, highlights a profoundly significant character trait, a deep-seated insecurity meticulously masked by layers of bravado and arrogance. It's a classic case of overcompensation.
You protest too much, as they say.
Exactly. This lucha thing defense, a vague and dismissive explanation for his dubious actions, also strongly suggests a potentially deeper, perhaps hidden narrative at play, that even his own faction members, the very people he relies on, are entirely unaware of. It actively invites the listener to consider the hidden layers of these storylines, prompting crucial questions about Dominik's true motivations, his independent and potentially clandestine dealings, and whether he's truly in control of his own destiny or merely a pawn in a larger game he doesn't fully comprehend. It adds a fascinating and complex layer to his character.
Moving on, Penta's story tonight was a really raw, unfiltered look at how quickly perception can shift in this business, and how desperate someone can become for a shot at championship gold.
Yeah, Penta seemed really frustrated.
Backstage, Penta expressed his profound frustration to Adam Pearce, lamenting that when he first joined WWE, he was universally loved and celebrated, but now he couldn't understand why things had dramatically changed. He felt adrift, unappreciated, and perhaps forgotten.
You could feel that sense of disillusionment.
Without mincing words, Penta, known for his fearless demeanor and unwavering intensity, then declared his clear, unwavering ambition. He demanded an Intercontinental Championship match against idiot Dominik Mysterio.
Straight to the point, and not hiding his feelings about Dom either.
This wasn't just a conventional challenge. It was a clear display of both his fierce desire for championship gold and his open, unapologetic disdain for the current champion, setting the stage for a very personal confrontation.
Setting up a potential future match.
But before Pearce could fully process Penta's emphatic demand, Rusev made a sudden, dramatic, and rather self-important appearance.
Oh boy, Rusev.
Rusev immediately accused Pearce of not following the plan. The plan that, according to Rusev, would unequivocally make him the next champion.
The plan? What plan? Pearce looked just as confused as we were.
Pearce, visibly bewildered and seemingly unaware of any such explicit or predetermined plan, appeared utterly confused. Rusev then dismissively branded Penta as a demon and a clown and chastised Pearce for wasting valuable time with such individuals.
Okay, Rusev just making enemies here.
This direct, disparaging remark immediately ignited an impromptu, heated rivalry, with Pearce quickly and perhaps impulsively setting a match between Penta and Rusev for later in the evening.
This concept of the plan, as forcefully articulated by Rusev, is incredibly intriguing and adds a layer of meta-narrative to the show. It strongly suggests an overarching, perhaps unseen power structure or narrative framework that Adam Pearce, in his role as the general manager, is ostensibly supposed to adhere to.
Right, like there's some script only Rusev knows about.
Rusev's insistent belief in this plan highlights his own perceived entitlement and creates a compelling sense of a larger, predetermined destiny that characters are either fighting against, desperately trying to manipulate, or, in Pearce's case, completely unaware of. It compels us to ask a profound question: who truly creates the plan, and what are the real consequences when it's not followed to the letter? Is there a higher, hidden authority pulling the strings behind the scenes, or is the plan merely a manifestation of Rusev's own self-serving ambition, skillfully framed as an undeniable cosmic truth?
It certainly adds a captivating layer of mystery and potential conspiracy to the championship landscape.
For sure.
The match between Penta and Rusev followed, and Rusev quickly established his dominance in the first half, skillfully utilizing the environment around the ring to his advantage, showcasing his raw power.
Rusev looked strong early on.
However, external factors, as is often the case in this universe, soon came into play. The New Day, accompanied by Grayson Waller, made an unexpected and highly disruptive appearance, seemingly intent on distracting Penta.
The anti-destroyer campaign continues.
They were actively campaigning with their ongoing petition to ban Penta's signature destroyer move, which Xavier Woods claimed, with melodramatic flair, almost broke his neck. Despite Penta bravely diving onto the entire group outside the ring, a final crucial distraction from Woods ultimately led to Rusev securing the victory with his powerful Machka kick.
So New Day costs Penta the match. More enemies for him.
And briefly, to close out that segment, the New Day's ongoing crusade against Penta's destroyer continued with their post-match antics. Xavier Woods and Big E, along with Grayson Waller, loudly reiterated their petition to ban the move and, in typical flamboyant New Day fashion, proudly proclaimed their self-proclaimed divine status, emphatically stating, "Thank God for New Day," a lighthearted moment amidst the heavier drama.
Classic New Day. Always entertaining, even when they're being annoying.
Let's switch over to the women's division, which, as always, is just as intense. Some huge championship matchups looming on the horizon, and some very heated words being exchanged that promise future fireworks.
Definitely a lot happening there.
Adam Pearce informed Io Sky backstage that her highly anticipated contract signing with Stephanie Vacher had to be unfortunately canceled due to Vacher's illness. However, Pearce quickly assured Sky that their Wrestlepalooza title match was still unequivocally on, maintaining the high stakes and the grand stage for the upcoming championship showdown.
Okay, so the match is still happening. Good to know.
Nikki Bella then approached Sky in a seemingly friendly manner, expressing her excitement for their upcoming match, seemingly unfazed by the potential challenge and projecting an air of confidence and sportsmanship.
Nikki seems ready for Io.
However, this moment of camaraderie was exceptionally short-lived, as the Kabuki Warriors, Suka and Kairi Sani, immediately entered the scene, radiating an undeniable aura of hostility and aggression.
Here comes trouble.
Asuka directly confronted Bella, sharply telling her with a venomous glare to stay away from Sky. Nikki, never one to back down and refusing to accept Asuka's blatant disrespect, asserted that Asuka could think what she wanted, but she needed to show proper respect.
Nikki standing her ground.
This led directly to Asuka issuing a furious challenge, offering to beat her with respect in the ring, which Bella, with her own fighting spirit, readily accepted.
Okay, so we get Asuka versus Nikki Bella.
During this heated exchange, Kairi-san attempted to offer a quiet apology to a seemingly sad and somewhat distressed Io Sky, but was quickly and sharply summoned by Asuka with a loud demanding Kairi, showcasing the undeniable power dynamic within the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah, Kairi still seems totally under Asuka's thumb, and Io looked worried.
Maybe. In another compelling segment, Raquel Rodriguez, accompanied by the agile Roxanne Perez, secured a dominant and convincing victory over Lyra Valkyria.
Raquel looked impressive.
Throughout the match, Rodriguez strategically targeted Valkyria's back, systematically weakening her opponent with a calculated, powerful offense. While Perez did make a minor, somewhat ineffective interference attempt, it ultimately had little bearing on Rodriguez's clear path to victory, which she decisively sealed with her powerful Tejana bomb.
Good win for Raquel, and Perez getting involved even slightly.
Later in the Judgment Day clubhouse, Finn Balor and J.D. McDonough were seen congratulating Rodriguez on her impressive win, and then subtly set up Roxanne Perez to have the same chance next week, hinting at clearly defined future plans and opportunities for the promising young star within the faction.
So Perez gets a shot next week. Judgment Day looking out for their own.
Bayley's promotional video really peeled back the intricate layers of a complex, evolving character, showcasing a deeply personal battle raging within herself.
This was really interesting, a different side of Bayley.
Her introspective promo was incredibly raw and honest, with Bayley expressing genuine uncertainty about her next steps and the direction of her career. She admitted, with a surprising vulnerability, that she didn't want to hurt Lyra Valkyria, despite having hurt others in the past who, in her view, deserved it.
Showing some remorse, maybe, or confusion.
The promo notably featured contrasting voices of her past gimmicks, ingeniously acting like angels and devils, debating right and wrong, powerfully embodying her intense internal conflict.
That was a cool visual representation of her struggle.
Ultimately, Bayley concluded with a poignant declaration that she would make everything right, suggesting a profound path towards redemption or a significant new, potentially unexpected direction for her character.
What's truly fascinating here, and a mark of sophisticated character writing, is the deep exploration of a character's moral compass, and the intense internal struggle between past actions, some quite ruthless, and future intentions.
It's more than just good versus evil.
Exactly. This isn't just a simple binary face or heel turn. It's a profound psychological dive into Bayley's core motivations, revealing a nuanced individual grappling openly with her own identity and legacy in the wrestling world. If we connect this to the broader picture of character development and entertainment, it powerfully demonstrates the evolution of character writing in wrestling. Moving beyond simplistic archetypes to create more complex, relatable, and emotionally resonant figures, it genuinely encourages the listener to consider the intricate complexity of identity and how personal growth, or the challenging struggle for it, can be an incredibly compelling narrative driver that keeps audiences deeply invested.
Where does she go from here? That's the big question.
We'll have to wait and see.
The women's division continued its intense trajectory with Asuka, accompanied by the ever-present Kairi Sane, facing off against Nikki Bella. Asuka ultimately secured a dominant victory via submission with her signature Asuka Lock, showcasing her technical prowess.
Asuka gets the win, backing up her words earlier.
Notably, during the match, Asuka strategically used Sane as a human shield outside the ring to evade an attack, and Sane's emotional state fluctuated visibly. Appearing unhappy and conflicted at times before Asuka's stern reassurance, it was a clear demonstration of their complex dynamic.
Still using Kairi like a pawn. Poor Kairi.
After the match, Asuka and Sane continued to mercilessly taunt Bella backstage, clearly relishing their victory and rubbing salt in the wound. Bella, naturally angered by the continued disrespect, expressed her readiness for a second round, showing her fighting spirit.
Nikki's not backing down.
But the situation escalated further with the timely and very calm appearance of Rhea Ripley, who subtly questioned if there was a problem, her tone a quiet challenge.
Mammy's here. Things just got interesting.
Asuka, ever arrogant and brimming with self-importance, immediately declared Ripley and Bella to be two problems, and aggressively asserted herself as the top woman of the division, attempting to stamp her authority.
Asuka claiming top spot. Bold.
Ripley, however, delivered a subtle yet incredibly impactful jab, a precise verbal strike that hit its mark. She calmly reminded Asuka that it was Io Sky, not Asuka, who had the guaranteed title match at Wrestlepalooza.
Ooh, reality check from Ripley. That's gotta hurt Asuka's ego.
This simple, factual statement ignited Asuka's fury, who furiously commanded Ripley to shut up about Sky before unleashing a guttural Kairi to a visibly cowering Sane, again showcasing Sane's unquestioning subservience and palpable fear of Asuka's wrath. It was a masterclass in establishing power dynamics without a single physical strike.
This entire sequence is a truly brilliant example of how even seemingly minor interactions can meticulously build significant tension and sharply define character dynamics without resorting to immediate physicality. Ripley's remarkably calm and collected demeanor starkly contrasted against Asuka's aggressive posturing and almost frantic need to assert dominance. Coupled with that subtle, precise reminder about Io Sky, immediately sets up a future confrontation and directly challenges Asuka's self-proclaimed supremacy.
Yeah, you feel that tension building between them.
It's a masterful way of establishing hierarchy and power dynamics within the women's division. It compels us to ask a crucial question. Is Asuka truly the undisputed top woman, or is she merely projecting an image of power? And will Ripley be the formidable force to ultimately expose that facade and reorder the division? Especially with Wrestlepalooza looming so large on the horizon, it's a simmering rivalry ready to explode.
Absolutely. Okay, wrapping up, let's look ahead. And if you thought things weren't already big enough, one of the biggest, most anticipated matchups for Wrestlepalooza was confirmed, with a legendary rivalry reigniting with explosive force.
This is huge.
We received a vivid recap of Brock Lesnar's utterly explosive interruption of John Cena's U.S. Championship match against Sami Zayn on SmackDown. Lesnar delivered two devastating F5s to Cena, brutally laying him out, and then declared in his inimitable, menacing style that he'd see him at Wrestlepalooza.
Lesnar just showed up and destroyed Cena. Message sent.
This iconic clash of titans, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, two of the most dominant forces in WWE history, is now officially set for the grandest stage of them all.
Cena versus Lesnar at Wrestlepalooza. Wow. Doesn't get much bigger.
And as an added treat for the fans, The announcement also confirmed Lesnar's highly anticipated appearance on the upcoming SmackDown, promising even more chaos.
Lesnar on SmackDown. That's must-see TV.
And just to keep us all on the very edge of our seats, next week's Raw is already looking to be just as explosive, if not more so, with the stakes continuously rising. We can look forward to a truly highly anticipated and no doubt volatile confrontation between CM Punk, AJ Lee, Seth Rollins, and Becky Lynch, where the personal stakes will undoubtedly reach unprecedented new heights, given everything we discussed tonight.
That segment alone is worth tuning in for. It's going to be intense.
We'll also see a key, intriguing matchup between Lyra Valkyrie and Roxanne Perez, two promising talents.
Good opportunity for both of them.
And to cap it all off, the legendary John Cena will be present, ensuring that next week's deep dive into Raw will be just as action-packed, unpredictable, and full of narrative developments.
Cena on Raw, too. Okay, they're pulling out all the stops.
So, what does this all mean for the shifting landscape of WWE? Tonight's deep dive into Raw, #1685, has shown us a universe dramatically transformed in just a few hours. We witnessed the true colors of allegiances, the intensifying personal stakes in rivalries like the white-hot Punk versus Rollins and Lynch versus Lee feud, and a truly shocking betrayal that leaves the Usos' already complicated future and LA Knight's immediate path completely up in the air.
Yeah, the whole dynamic shifted.
The lines between friend and foe, loyalty and resentment are blurrier than ever, creating an atmosphere of palpable uncertainty as we hurtle towards Wrestlepalooza.
Indeed. If we truly connect this to the broader picture, what we've witnessed tonight is the raw, visceral power of narrative evolution in real time. From AJ Lee's profoundly compelling return, which skillfully blends deeply personal history with in-ring aggression, to Jey Uso's chillingly calculated betrayal, an act that fundamentally redefines the very essence of trust and loyalty within this fiercely competitive environment. Every single segment has meticulously crafted and advanced the intricate path towards Wrestlepalooza.
They really were like chapters in a bigger book.
Exactly. These weren't merely individual matches or promos. They were vital chapters in a grander, unfolding story, each revealing deeper character motivations and setting the stage for even more profound conflicts and undoubtedly more shocking twists to come.
As we wrap up this deep dive, here's something for you to truly mull over. With all these rapidly shifting alliances, the mysterious plans cryptically mentioned by Rusev, and AJ Styles openly feeling like someone doesn't want him here, it genuinely makes you wonder what unseen, perhaps shadowy forces are truly at play behind the scenes of these unfolding dramas.
Good question.
Who is really pulling the strings, dictating the plan, or manipulating relationships? And how much control do these superstars truly have over their own destinies in this incredibly intricate, high-stakes universe?
Makes you think about who's really in charge.
It's a question that adds another layer to every single segment. We hope you thoroughly enjoyed getting well-informed and entertained with us today. If you did, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and comment. We absolutely love hearing your thoughts, your theories, and diving deeper into what you find most interesting.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep enjoying the deep dive.